My name is Courtney Colson, a female to male to female detransitioner, and on this channel we try to figure out what the hell is wrong with me. On this episode, Ancestral Living. And this is something I've discussed a little bit here and there through other videos, and I think I should focus on it specifically because I have dealt with chronic illnesses my entire life. I've mentioned in other videos, when I was 11 I got a bout of gastro, and I just had issues ever since then. Digestive issues. I appear to have autism. Some people are upset that I say it's autism when it doesn't adhere to their beliefs about what autism is. I'll have to make another video about that. We don't know everything about autism, but yeah, I went through that entire autistic experience. And then I changed my diet, and it stopped. So clearly, there's something to it. You are what you eat, and the modern human diet is not really ideally suited for us as a species. And my health got worse and worse through my teens and my 20s, and I came to hate myself. And when I found out about the whole trans movement, I thought, yeah, if I was a man, maybe life would be better. And I also got wrapped up into the whole transhumanist movement, and just further and further divorcing myself from reality and from biology and who I was as a human being. And I think so many people these days, especially this current generation, are so disconnected from nature, reality, their humanity. And that's why I like this ancestral living movement's taken off in the past few years. And excusing the Liver King, who was using steroids, clearly. I mean, look at the guy. There's nothing natural about that. And shame on him for promoting an unrealistic ideal. I wouldn't even say it's an ideal, he just looks like an idiot. Sun-dried, puffy sultana man. I don't... or raisins as they call them elsewhere. Sultanas is what we call them here, god damn it. By the way, I am in fact wearing a pizza-themed kimono. It was a gift from a friend. Very happy about it. I haven't gotten to wear it before now, so I'm very proud. When I detransitioned, I realized I'd been doing everything wrong, and everything I'd been told had been wrong about how to live, how to eat, how to sleep, how to hold your tongue in your mouth. Tongue posture, we'll get into that later. Pretty much anyone can take something away from this video, because I think we are all so divorced from our own humanity and how we're supposed to be living. And you might be shocked at some of the stuff we're just doing wrong or not even thinking about. But, if you are dealing with chronic illnesses, digestive issues, I would recommend giving some of these things a go, because it may not be you that's the problem. It might just be society. I'll just run through my routine here. I filmed it throughout the day. That was quite interesting. So I wake up at around 5 a.m. and I'm always up with the sun, and you should try to align your circadian rhythms with the sun. Although not everyone's going to naturally sleep and wake at the same time, there's a lot of evidence to show that some people are just naturally night owls. They will naturally stay up later, and there's evidence to show that might be an evolutionary advantage. These people were keeping watch over the tribe as the others slept. Whatever works for you, be consistent with it. I think that's the most important thing. And during the winter, obviously, the sun gets up later, and I'm up before the sun. And what I like to do is turn on a red light therapy lamp. And the red light, really good for your circadian rhythms, but it also helps with seasonal depression, and it has all sorts of benefits. And so I've been using that for about, a couple of years now. 3-4 years. And yeah, I'm waking up with the sun, and never used to do that. My sleep cycles were all over the place because of chronic fatigue. So, but yeah, I'm definitely getting some benefits out of it. And I don't immediately get out of bed. So I'll give myself this time to just slowly wake up. But also that this is when I'll check my phone for messages, updates, all that. And I prefer to have very specific windows to look at the internet. I've deleted a lot of my social media apps. So if I want to look at Reddit, I got to go on my computer, and I can only do that when I'm near my computer, when it's convenient. And that definitely helps with focus and productivity and all that. I do keep Instagram on there so I can post stories. There's no other way you can't do it on your computer. And Messenger. And I have a lot of friends who live in different time zones, so yeah, first thing in the morning is a good time to check in with them and look up everything else that I needed to, and after that half an hour or so, I'll put it away and won't look at it until much later. I'll get out of bed and I'll do some stretches. Started doing some more calisthenics kind of stuff, trying to balance there. Look, I've just started. We'll see how I go. Now, you should always drink a glass of water when you wake up, but this might be a bit weird. I add salt to it because it's an electrolyte, and I would have been fasting since midday the previous day. So if you are feeling hungry first thing in the morning, it's usually your electrolytes that's the problem. You can buy electrolyte supplements, but I've never found I needed them, at least not with 1 meal a day. If I was doing a longer fast, I might need them, but it's mostly salt you need to replenish during that kind of fasting window. But you might find the electrolyte supplements are helpful to help you transition into fasting for longer. And another thing you need to be aware of is avoid electrolyte supplements with sugar or glucose, and a lot of them add the glucose. You don't need that. That's not useful. And another note, no, salt isn't bad for you. Never has been, never will be. Low sodium is actually far more dangerous, and it's crazy they tell people with heart conditions to eat a low sodium diet. You're killing them. That's the surefire way to kill them. It's insane. I used to do yoga while I had the worst of my chronic fatigue. See, this is a thing that it frustrated me with the chronic fatigue and chronic illness community, and I didn't want to be around them because so many of them just seemed to give up. They didn't really want to fight it. They just went, oh, I'm always in pain. It's awful. I don't know. I'm just going to sleep all day. No, and I've seen the results of it. If you stop, if you give up, you're going to lose whatever muscle mass you have, and you're going to be prone to more injury, more illness. You're just going to get worse and worse and worse, and doctors are just going to give you more and more medications that are not going to treat these issues. So I was so determined. I don't want to end up like that. And even when I was so weak, I was having paralysis, convulsions. I would just sleep over 12 hours a day. But I would always try to do yoga. I would always try to do, maybe walk around the block or sit in the sun. And these very basic things, they got me through that. They prevented me from getting much worse than I could have, mentally and physically. And that's something that's going to come up a lot in this video. It's just, you are not just a brain in a body. You are a body. So I'm dealing with PTSD now, and I realize that, I'm panicking. I have these self-harm urges. Okay, I'm going to go into the backyard. I'm going to start boxing. I'm going to start bodybuilding. I'm going to get those, the adrenaline and the endorphins going. Oh, I feel a lot better. Duh, because you're a body and you have to look after it, and it's interlinked. You cannot pull them apart. I know these transhumanists, they just want to upload their consciousness. They'll go insane. If that actually works, they are in for a living hell that they have inflicted upon themselves, let me tell you. This routine, I should specify, is my day off. So if I'm at work, then, there's not much to talk about. 6 or 8 hours, I'm just working. So when I have time off, this is what I like to do. And you don't have to be as productive as I am. I have a lot of hobbies. I'm trying to fit it all in, and I'm trying to learn different skills and all that. But I think, if you work full time and you just want to use your time off just to relax and recover and be ready for the next week, that's all well and good. But I do think you still need some kind of routine just in terms of sleep and eating and exercise and all of that. So we'll get into that. But so 7 a.m. I'll start my own work, and if I've got a commission, then I'll do that. And I like the Pomodoro method. I just called I was calling it the 1 hour method. I didn't know it had a name. I didn't know someone else had thought of it. But the best motivator, or at least for me, the best bloody motivator is you set your timer, 1 hour, there you go, sit down at the task that you want to work on, and just cut out all distractions. You were doing that for 1 hour, and I tend to actually make a lot of progress with it. So that's what I stick to. Then the next hour, I'll work on my own sewing project. Then after that, I'll draw for an hour. Drawing was one of those skills that, I've been drawing my whole life, and then it just totally went to the wayside. I just went, oh, well, I'm not an illustrator as a career. There's no need for it. I just use it to draw what I'm going to sew. I'm drawing my designs. But then after the, near-death experience, I realized, well, I have this skill, and I'm not doing anything with it, and I've never really pushed it to its limit, and never done anything really exciting with it, or at least, personally exciting. So I've been working on a comic book. I've never made a comic book before. I don't know anything about sequential art. I've been reading Berserk lately, and just learning, or at least how manga is illustrated and how they lay it all out. So I'm learning from that. My New Year's resolutions only really started, well, this comic only started February, and it's based on a dream I had. Yes, it's Metal Gear, and I mean, that's a lot of work for, an hour a day for a couple of months. And I've redrawn a few things. I thought, oh, I can do that better, or maybe if I put the camera from this angle and see. I'm learning, and I'm excited, and I'm passionate, and I can see applications for this skill. After that, I'll write for about an hour, and I'm working on my memoir these days, and I'm finding it therapeutic for myself. It's putting things in perspective, but that's me working towards a goal. I feel that can be of value to society. If I can tell my story in this format, it will reach a wider audience, and I hope it reaches gender-confused girls out there like me who never got a very simple message of, you can do whatever you want. There's no such thing as masculine or feminine. Just do what you enjoy doing. I heard 2 bits of advice from 2 very good writers that really stuck with me. And one of them was David Lynch, and he said, the story doesn't write itself. You make the time, you sit down in front of your computer, and even if you end up deleting more words than you write, you have invested the time, you're thinking about it, you're working towards that goal. Much better than just, walking around and doing other things and going, oh, well, I wish I could write a story. Well, are you trying? Are you actively trying? No. And Alan Moore also said that you don't get ideas and then write them down. The ideas come up when you're writing. And that was this light bulb moment of, oh, yeah, you're right. Because when I've been sitting down lately, I'm just going, okay, so 1 hour, this is the writing time, and I don't know, I don't have anything to say, or I'm just tired, or I'd rather be doing anything else. Nope, 1 hour, you're doing this. And then you go, oh, so what if this happened? Oh, and then this, especially when you're writing fiction, you go, it would be kind of cool if this happened. All right. But in order for that to happen, then this other thing would have happened before that. Oh, okay. And that's how you get the wheels turning. I've wasted so much time, well, not to procrastination, but to chronic illness. But I think what would have helped even back then is just at least sitting there and trying. And yeah, sure, I mean, I'm not saying chronic illnesses are easy and it's just willpower that will get you through it. No. But don't give up. Keep trying. Find what works for you. That's how I've gone through some really horrible medical issues where you just think, oh, well, this is it. This is me for the rest of my life. I'm going to be sick and disabled forever. No. I mean, the guy who wrote The Diving Bell and The Butterfly, that dude had locked-in syndrome, and he was essentially just, I think he was using his eyelids, just Morse code the whole thing. You absolutely can work towards whatever goal you have. Even when you don't have a goal, then your goal should be, I want to have a goal. I want to live. I want to be healthier. I want to be happier. I want something. Every human being wants something. And when I was in my darkest days there and thinking, I'm just going to be sick forever, I'm just going to sleep forever, I've got nothing. So I started a podcast, Prometheus by Minute. And it's one of the Alien movies. And I really love that movie, and I think there's a lot to talk about in cinematography. And it's a very understood film, and I was really passionate about it. I don't know if it's worth listening to now. I was Connor, I'm trying to talk all manly and stuff, and I sound like a dickhead. People enjoyed it. And I keep it up on my website. And it really got me through the darkest time where I was suicidal. I didn't have anything ahead of me. I didn't think I would ever achieve anything. And look at me now, wearing a pizza-themed kimono, talking to the internet. What a great life. So I made this podcast. I had something to work towards. I was writing, I was editing, I had a community and people were fans, and it kept me going. So whatever it is, and if you don't have a thing, find whatever that is. There's something. There is absolutely something for you, because we only get one life. It's a very short thing, but what an amazing thing. Even if you think it's horrible and I've been hit by 2 cars and my whole family's abandoned me, and I've been through some shit. But being alive is still fucking awesome. And I'm glad to be here. So, even though I would not do a Movies by Minute podcast now, I've got more important shit to do. It was the thing that got me through to this point. And that is a thing that I have these existential crises a lot. I get kind of angsty and go, well, am I doing enough? Am I doing something that's important? What's my legacy? I think about it all the time. What's my legacy? What can I do to further society? And, I think that's a rather noble thing, right? But you don't immediately know the cause and effect. I think we're in a society that's so obsessed with results and productivity. Take some time for yourself. That's why, I take the time to draw and write and all that. They might result in something that earns a profit, but that shouldn't be your immediate incentive. You should be thinking, well, will other people enjoy it? That's a good question. Will I enjoy it? Is your first question. Because if there are other people who are, they do have the luxury of just their own pleasure and satisfaction comes first, then they should be onto the second question. It's Maslow's hierarchy. I'll put that somewhere. If you're not familiar, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is a really good thing for your own mental health. And if you are in a position, you're living at home, your parents pay for everything, you're a child, hopefully, then you're kind of at the top. You're working on your own education, development, you're in a nice, secure place to explore and make mistakes and transition, hopefully not. Once you get out into the world, you're kicked out of the nest, you kind of go down a few rungs and you're worried, am I going to be able to afford groceries and rent and rego for my car recently? So then you become very fixated on profit and staying alive, and you're not thinking about your own spiritual, emotional, psychological development, whatever word you want to use. Modern society does not cater to those things. Before I got chronic fatigue syndrome for the second time, I was studying a librarianship degree online, so I was able to work on it at home, and I had to stop. I was about 3 years. I actually got really close to graduate. I've never graduated anything because I keep getting sick, but I got really close to the end, and then I realized I can't do this because I would sit and watch a lecture, and I'd fall asleep during the lecture. Okay, God, now I have to rewatch it, and then you need to read all this stuff, and then you have to write your essay. I keep falling asleep because that kind of stuff. You're sitting still. And if you've got chronic fatigue, you're always tired. Well, it's very easy to just nod off again because you're just barely conscious at the best of times. So, it's not like you can overcome every aspect of your chronic illness. But so what did I do? I shifted to something that was more manageable, more doable. That's not failure. That's not quitting. Making podcasts was still productive. I wasn't, but I didn't have to work to a deadline. There wasn't as much pressure. So look, I was still capable. I just didn't have to push myself to that limit, beyond my limits. And I think you see it not just with chronically ill people, but with retirees as well. You see a huge drop in mental health when people retire because they feel like, oh, my purpose is over and I don't know what to do. What do I do with all my time? And that's why I'm saying routine is so important. And even having just a little hobby, a little job, a little something to work towards. We're social creatures. We want to feel useful. So that is one of my big takeaways of living with chronic fatigue for, we're up to about 10 years now. And, there are bad periods, there are good periods. But that positive mental attitude, that'll get you through a lot. But having had chronic fatigue for so long, it drives me nuts when healthy, able-bodied people say, oh, I'm just tired, I can't be bothered. You? You're not tired. You don't know what tired is. The other bit of advice I would give about routine is that you don't have to time everything so specific. 7 a.m. I'll do, 8 a.m. I'll do this, 9 a.m. I'll be doing what. Just do those things within whatever time limit. If you're going to do, I'm going to do this for an hour. Okay. But when that hour is, doesn't matter. When it is suitable to you, because we're not machines. And I think if you are constantly, I need to go from this task to this task to this, you're not slowing down and just touching grass, as the kids say. Just breathing. Be human. So the other thing I try to do every day when it's sunny, although it's been very overcast here lately, as you'll see in the other clips, but I will lie out in the sun for about 20 minutes. Sun exposure is a thing that we are mostly missing in the modern day. In Australia, it's not so bad because there's a lot of sun here, usually. And modern humans spend about more than 90% of their lives indoors. And that contributes to affecting our mental health. Because that's what ancestral living is all about, is replicating the conditions that our ancestors lived in, what we evolved to live in as best we can in this modern society. It doesn't have to be exactly the way they used to live, but depriving yourself of all of that, you can see how modern society's ended up. You can do things in the order that you feel like doing. Oh, I feel like doing this now. But also keep in mind that motivation often comes after the doing. You start doing, and then you feel invested in. And that's what happens with me all the time. I'll start drawing or writing, going, I don't want to. Oh, no, I'm really into this. Oh, 1 hour's up already. Oh. And I don't limit myself to that 1 hour. Sometimes I go, oh, I'm on a roll. Let's keep going. The other thing I try to fit in, and I have been doing it basically every day for years now, is learning Japanese, Nihongo, if you will. And that has a lot of neurological benefits. I started learning Japanese not because I had any intention of going to Japan, although I would like to go soonish, when I can afford to. But it actually, the size of one's brain actually increases, and it seems to prevent a lot of neurological conditions. It improves memory and cognitive function, all that. So figured, hell, may as well learn. And I was stuck at home, chronic fatigue, couldn't do anything else. So yeah, that was definitely just doing something good for myself by keeping myself stimulated and occupied. And yes, I was learning because I wanted to watch anime without subtitles. So I'm one of those. I won't go into too much detail about my diet because I have a carnivore video that goes right into that and the advantages of that. And essentially, it's just I'm eating a diet that would be more akin to what my ancestors ate. It helps with my digestion, and it definitely helps with bodybuilding. I am seeing a lot of improvement very quickly. I used to bodybuild as Connor. Back then, I was taking testosterone, so I'm basically taking steroids. But, there was the whole supplementing and meal prep and the timing and your macros. Just eat meat. That's it, man. So it makes it a lot easier. And I eat one meal a day, and I started doing OMAD when I was incredibly ill and just didn't have the energy to eat more than once. Nowadays, I don't experience hunger that much at all. It's usually around midday or maybe around 6 p.m. And I mean, fasting has just given me so much freedom. I used to have to just carry a lunchbox around with me basically all the time, especially when I was bodybuilding and taking testosterone. I was starving constantly. Now I eat once or twice a day, and that's 2,000, 3,000 calories. And I just eat whenever it's convenient, because I could be out around midday, and okay, so I normally eat around midday, but doesn't matter. I'll eat when I get home. Because once you learn to fast, you get really good at it. It gets easy. And, I remember when I started doing fasting, well, I was really sick, so I wasn't eating much. But if you had told me before that, oh, yeah, try to eat once a day. Oh, God, impossible. How the hell? You would be starving all the time forever. How would you do it? You adapt. And our ancestors lived like that. Always. They weren't suffering. What do you think? Every animal, including human beings, were just constantly feeling uncomfortable and miserable? No. This state is known as hormesis, a favorable state produced by exposure to low-grade stresses. Too much stress is a killer, but too little is just as bad. They were able to, well, especially humans and our particular digestive system, we could go days without food. We would start using our own fat as fuel. And good thing is, when you're not eating carbs, you're not using your muscles as fuel. So I've heard some people say, I was interested, Rhonda Patrick, who is this nutrition who's really great. I really turn to her advice. She doesn't really fast that, well, not every single day, even though she knows the benefits, but you're in a catabolic state. So you're not building muscle. But actually, I argue that because I only eat once a day, I am eating all the protein and fat I need. And so when I'm fasting, it promotes human growth hormone. It promotes healing. It promotes everything you want in bodybuilding. And I've personally found it really good. So my argument here is just essentially, do what works for you. If you're seeing results and you're feeling great, freaking do it. And the other guy, Joseph Everett, What I've Learned channel, really good stuff. Check out his channel. But I was surprised. Like, recently, he did a really long fast because he said, over the holidays, I was eating junk and I put on weight. And interesting. So you talk about all this health stuff, but you don't adhere to it rigidly. And yeah, there's no problem with that. No judgment. Know the consequences of your actions. It's, okay, well, I'm going to eat junk, so I'm probably going to put on weight, and I'm going to look great, and I'm going to feel great. Know that, and I think take responsibility for your actions, basically. Because that's what drives me nuts. And I definitely, I've done it in the past, and I don't want to do it ever again. Not to go on my Stoicism rant. Stoicism's great. Check that one. That's good. That's some good stuff. Get some ancient Greek philosophy in you. But yeah, you're the only one who can save you. You're the master of your own existence. So if you're doing something and it's not making you happy, and it's not working for you, you're not feeling great, change. Look for change. Do some research. See what's out there. So yeah, obviously in the case of Rhonda Patrick or Joseph Everett, very well-educated people, they know what they're doing. They are making those choices, and they're very well-educated, well-informed. Whereas someone like myself or Michaela Peterson, we have some pretty intense autoimmune problems. So we have to be this rigid, this strict. And thankfully, I don't have to be as strict as Michaela, but I don't have the luxury of just eating whenever I want, eating whatever I want. Even though Honestly, you adapt. Your gut microbiome changes. Everyone can benefit from fasting, but how you do it is up to you, and it depends what your goals are. But I think just skip breakfast. Do the 16-8 fast. So 16 hours fasting, 8-hour window of eating. That's plenty of time to eat. And you will immediately see benefits. It's a very easy way, a more natural way to eat. There's a whole book about the origins of breakfast. Breakfast is a whole new concept. And then you got the, cereal industry saying, yeah, you got to eat the cereals first thing in the morning. No, you don't. Bad idea. Don't do it. Stop that now. Cut out grains, cut out sugar, skip breakfast. You will see results immediately. You don't have to get into any structured diet. If you have to pay for anything, it's not good. That's a scam. I think that will help you cut through most of the bullshit. If you have to pay a lot of money to be healthy, generally speaking, that's a scam. Unless it's, chemotherapy or something. Unless you need very intense medical treatments. You're just trying to lose weight, trying to sleep better, trying to eat better, exercise, but whatever. Those things are free. You have the ability to make those things happen right now by yourself for free. Which brings me to the next thing. Mewing. Now, I've really gotten into mewing recently, and I've been watching a lot of interviews with Dr. Mew. I can't remember his full name, sorry. But he's like third generation orthodontist. They know what they're talking about. They have seen the decline in dental health across the world for generations. And of course, the dental industry, but if you help people for free, we don't make money. Therefore, mewing is bad. He's irresponsible. It's dangerous. If you see all these news articles saying, oh, he's dangerous, he's not. The same thing with carnivore gets vilified. Well, but how will we make more money if we're not force-feeding people grains and giving them diabetes and forcing them to take insulin? That's basically what it comes down to. Everything in this capitalist world comes down to profit. And if you can do something for free, they don't like that. And that was the ultimate wake-up point for me. That a lot of people thought I was a conspiracy theorist, and sadly, the natural human reaction to learning new information that challenges old beliefs is anger. And I've overcome that a long time ago because I've been forced to realize, the trans ideology is wrong. Vegan diet is wrong. It's all lies. If you dig beneath the surface, you look at your ancestors, look at how we have lived for thousands of years. The truth is there. It's been there the whole time in the museums. Look at their teeth. Look at their bones. They were bigger and stronger and healthier than us. Why? Nutrition and mewing, tongue posture. Big long story about how this happened. But he was interviewed by Michaela Peterson recently. So I'll show you a video of me mewing there. So tucking the tongue right back into the little cave at the top there. That's where your tongue is supposed to sit. And your teeth are supposed to be together, or at least gently together. And without doing that, you have breathing issues, and you have that sort of, you're sitting like, open mouth. You look like a slack-jawed idiot. Mouth breather. Why do we think that looks dumb? Because it is making you dumb. You're getting off oxygen in your head. Your mouth should be closed. Your teeth should be together. Your tongue should be up in the roof, and you're breathing through your nose. You're getting enough oxygen. And this can, if you're not doing this properly, it leads to sleep apnea. So then you have all these tubes and crap in your face for the rest of your life, not helping the issue. I'm pretty fortunate that I've always had a severe overbite. And as a little kid, 6 years old, I'm saying to my dentist, are my teeth supposed to be like that? I don't think it's supposed to be like that. Nah, it's fine. No, they're wrong. That's not fine. So thankfully, I wasn't really snoring. Didn't have any. I've never had braces. I've only got that one tooth there is crooked. Rest are all straight. I don't have wisdom teeth coming through. And my dentist is like, it might do, it might not. Doesn't seem to be an issue. But why are modern teeth? Why are they so overcrowded? Why do they look so bad? It's because of diet. So the babies are breastfed, okay. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, 11 weeks, 12 weeks, 13 weeks, 14 weeks, 15 weeks, 16 weeks, 17 weeks, 18 weeks, 19 weeks, 20 weeks, 21 weeks, 22 weeks, 23 weeks, 24 weeks, 25 weeks, 26 weeks, 27 weeks, 28 weeks, 29 weeks, 30 weeks, 31 weeks, 32 weeks, 33 weeks, 34 weeks, 35 weeks, 36 weeks, 37 weeks, 38 weeks, 39 weeks, 40 weeks, 41 weeks, 42 weeks, 43 weeks, 44 weeks, 45 weeks, 46 weeks, 47 weeks, 48 weeks, 49 weeks, 50 weeks, 51 weeks, 52 weeks, 53 weeks, 54 weeks, 55 weeks, 56 weeks, 57 weeks, 58 weeks, 59 weeks, 60 weeks, 61 weeks, Every baby around the world, breastfed. When you wean them off of that, what do we give them now? Manufactured pureed crap. That is liquid. They're basically suckling on it. So now, as an adult, we don't actually know how to swallow properly. This is how you should. So this is how we normally swallow. You're using your mouth and your tongue. You're pushing everything back. You should only see this moving. Quite hard to do. I'm still learning. So we got off the teat, and we didn't really get off the teat because we're still learning to suckle. We're not swallowing using all these muscles here and using our tongue back here. It's all in the front. And we're also eating too fast, and these portions are, or cutting up. We're putting into our mouth these big chunks of food, and we can push it back and down because we're using our mouths instead of our throats. So if you start chewing properly, that leads to better digestion. You're actually going to be satiated for longer as well. And that will make your jaws stronger. And this is all blowing my mind here. I go, wow, I'm always looking for the next thing, the next ancestral health thing, so I can be the best and the healthiest and happiest person I can be. So give mewing a go. I think everyone, it's free, it's easy, it takes a bit of practice, but you'll get there. I don't snore, but after my accident, I have, they said, an asymmetry in something up in the nose. Every single night I was snoring really hard, and I never used to do that. And I was trying all the snore labs. I have this snore gym. You do the mouth exercises. Helped a little. It used to help. A long time ago I did have a little bit of snoring. I don't know why, but the snoring exercise worked. Great. This time around, no. So that's how I found out about mewing. Mewing also helps, but in my particular case, I had to do the I think called neti pot or something, the nasal flushing. So it was actually, there was an obstruction there. Which, again, recording my sleep every night, I'm noticing I snore only when I eat dinner. So if I do lunch and dinner, I will inevitably snore. If I just do lunch, no snoring. So it takes, if you're just trying to improve your health in general, you don't have a specific goal. I guess you don't have to be this forensic with it. But if you do have a specific problem, snoring or whatever it is, you got to look at every factor. And that's what I basically had to do with a lot of my problems, actually. You basically have to become your own doctor, because your GP is sadly not educated in nutrition, really, and a lot of things come down to nutrition. They don't know about ancestral living. They don't know how our ancestors lived, really. They know how to prescribe drugs or to send you to get blood work, biopsies, CT scan, whatever it is, radiology. It's all very removed from nature. And we are natural. So if you get a good, solid foundation, and thankfully when I was in that car accident or hit and run, I had a good, solid foundation. Fasting, carnivore, all of that, although my doctors were not caring for me in the hospital. That's a whole other story. I've complained about my treatment there, and hopefully I'll get some sort of compensation, or at least an apology, but I was already very strong. Even though I was still recovering from chronic fatigue, I was doing the best I could. I gave myself a really good foundation. And when you have that good, solid foundation, you're minimizing the impact of any injury and illness, but you also have more control over your body. You're aware of how it should work. I feel like the nutritional misinformation out there is what causes a lot of eating disorders. People don't feel like they have control. They don't understand how to feed themselves properly, and they're always made to feel like a failure. You're not feeding your body properly, and that is not your fault. You've been lied to. We all have. One thing I haven't tried is going shoeless. Or I do it a little bit in my own house and backyard. But Anthony Padilla interviewed these barefooters or whatever. And at first I'm going, I don't know, I'm kind of skeptical of... just not wearing shoes? It just seems impractical. I don't know. Especially in Australia, because the ground gets bloody hot. But yeah, no, it turns out, psychologically and physically, you'll benefit a lot. So, yeah, maybe that's the next new thing for me to try. So around 3 to 5 o'clock, I've already done most of my work and hobbies and practicing and whatever for the day. I'll go out into the backyard. Don't want to go out there too late, because type O blood attracts mosquitoes no matter where I am. I always say, if I ever went to Mars, I would be the first person on Mars to get bitten by a mosquito. It would find me. But I go out to my backyard, and I've got this nice little gym set up there. I've got a punching bag, because I really got into boxing after my accident that I just had so much rage and nowhere to channel it. And also I watched $1 Million Baby and cried a lot and went, yeah, that's my life, but in reverse, hopefully. And so it's really hard. I only box for about 5-10 minutes, and that's kind of my warm-up. This is sort of my anger management. So, got my blood pumping and all that. And then I'll start bodybuilding, and I'm amazed. I didn't know if I was ready to return to bodybuilding, or even if I could. I thought, my chronic fatigue is going to get a lot worse, my injuries are going to get worse. No. And I kind of look back on the years that I wasn't exercising when I had chronic fatigue, just going, maybe I should have. It didn't matter if I needed a whole day to recover after a workout. Just doing that workout makes all the difference. It's better than any drug. You feel mentally and physically a lot better. I used to have a whole gym set, but I sold all of that. I carried it from house to house, all these dumbbells and stuff. Then after about 3 years of having severe chronic fatigue, it's not going to happen. I give up. But this year, I'd recovered enough from my injuries, and I, just as a test, was lifting these distilled water jugs, 4-liter jugs, and just doing exercises with those. And quickly, my strength came back. Oh, I can do this. And I started off with just 15 minutes. And I struggled to do 15 minutes at first, and just slowly worked my way up to that. And then now I'm doing about 30 minutes, and I'm doing a lot of stuff. And I'm amazed. It's absolutely possible. I thought my bodybuilding days were behind me, but I'm already seeing a lot of results, and I'm really excited about it. I want to keep going. And so I just bought some new dumbbells. I got even more on the way, the more weight plates on the way, because I've already outgrown that set. So it was just a little set, and I thought, I don't think I'm going to be lifting more than 10 kilos, like curling a dumbbell. I'm already at that point now. So at this point, I'm doing low reps, about 6 reps, 8 kilo dumbbells. So I'm nearly done with that set. From January to April, I have doubled the amount of weight I can lift. And still not great with pull-ups. I'm slowly I actually had to do reverse pull-ups. So, you jump up, hold yourself, and then lower yourself down. So where there's a will, there's a way. So I started doing that and doing a lot of other exercises that targeted those areas. And so now I can do about 4 in a row, but I kind of have to drop, give myself a second, go back up. It's not perfect, it's not the correct form yet, but I'm working up to it. Now usually either before or after a workout, I bought myself a little sauna, and Rhonda Patrick is always going on about the saunas, and I read all the research on it. Yeah, lots of benefits. Really, okay, sign me up. Let's give this a go. And why I decided to eventually buy one is so I normally have cold showers, and I think cold showers are great, especially in the summer. I don't use hot water at all, but now we're kind of going into the colder seasons. But yeah, I'll still go and have a cold shower. Wim Hof, great guy. So he's all about the cold water exposure, ice water. I'd love to give that a go one day. A lot of benefits, because our ancestors weren't living in these perfectly temperature controlled environments. You're in the deserts, or you're in the ice age, or we're always battling the elements. So I found tremendous benefits with cold showers, especially. I don't have Sjogren's so much anymore. They gave me steroids in hospital, and then seemed to get better. But yeah, I couldn't have warm showers because my skin would feel like it was peeling off. But I was recently at the ear, nose, and throat clinic, and I was made to wait in the waiting room for, must have been 2 hours. And it was a cool day, and they had the air conditioning up all the way. I was wearing shorts. I was just so miserable. And even, it's about half an hour train ride home. And I need to get in a warm shower. I need a warm shower right now. I need to thaw out. I am so miserable. And I got in there. Lovely warm, first warm shower I've had since last winter, 6 months ago or more. And I started crying. This is so comforting. I don't know what comforting is anymore. I'm kind of this. It's kind of sad, really. But when it comes to hugs, or I've had doctors just, when I'm going through a horrible procedure, they're just like stroking my arm and I'm like, this is really nice. Because the only physical contact, I live alone. So I'm going to have a little bit of physical contact with my friends, hello, goodbye, hug, quick hug. But like someone actually just holding me, it's never happened since I was a child, probably. And it's because, these days, the only physical contact I get is either inflicting pain or treating said pain. So, hit by multiple cars, for example. Or getting a cannula in your arm. Or a blood test. Or stitches. Or any other injection. That's the only physical contact I know these days. So, I would put that under ancestral living. Physical contact. And you saw the effects of this because of COVID, the lockdowns and all that. People were going insane because they weren't physically seeing friends face to face. It was just Zoom, and that was causing a lot of issues psychologically. We need to be around people. We're social creatures. And yeah, I definitely have, they call it skin hunger. I am so touch deprived that when I do receive any minor, gentle, positive physical contact, it's just like, oh, danger? Danger? Oh no? Maybe, but you can't fully relax. The need for touch, I don't think is discussed enough. Every human being needs physical contact, and yet, I don't know, we just don't discuss it because it's weak, it's shameful. I've been watching a channel called Fearless and Far, and he goes to all these very traditional cultures, the hunter-gatherers. He spent some time with the Hadza in Tanzania? Yeah. And fascinating stuff, and that was really eye-opening because the bond between these people and the amount of physical contact that is normal. I think nowadays in modern society we're also, we're trying to, don't touch me, keep away. Human beings aren't like that. We're supposed to be affectionate. It's not it might be, you can only do that if it's a romantic. No, it's not a romantic thing or a sexual thing. Physical contact doesn't have to be only romantic and sexual. But in this society, especially teenagers, have this fear of, too much physical contact means bad things. And yeah, you do have perverts out there who break those barriers. They push past those boundaries inappropriately. So now we have this really fucked up psychological relationship with touch. Isn't that crazy? We're at a point now that our society is so fucked up that just the simple act of touch is this political, complicated thing. So after the sauna, working out, cold shower, I've definitely given my blood vessels a huge workout there and gone through run the gamut of temperatures. That's my free time. I don't really designate the evenings for anything specific. But I will, I'll watch maybe an hour of television, play some video games. Video games, I think, have their benefits. For me, Metal Gear, obviously, the psychological, therapeutic benefits there. But, yeah, I was playing video games to help with coordination, especially this pinky finger was fractured, so that doesn't... Oh, it's getting there. We're almost symmetrical. This finger couldn't bend properly. And then nerve or coordination issues, I don't know why, after the accident. So playing games definitely helped with hand-eye and all that. Reaction times. So I think video games are actually quite beneficial. So I work it into my routine every day. When the sun goes down, I'll put blue blocking glasses on. I didn't think it would make any difference. That's ridiculous. The color of the light is going to make it... Yeah, because for the longest time we only had the sun and fire. So that's why we kind of respond to light, and that's how we know when to sleep and when to wake. Even when you're blind, your skin is responding to light in a certain way. Obviously, you can't put blue blockers on your entire body, and I don't think it works that way. But, yeah, I used to spend hours waiting to fall asleep, and changing my diet helped a little bit, but it'll still take about an hour. Started using the blue blocking glasses before bed. Boom. I'm asleep in under 20 minutes, sometimes even less. And that's how it's supposed to be. I didn't realize that's how normal human beings are supposed to sleep. You're not supposed to write stories in your head while you're staring at the ceiling, waiting to finally fall asleep. No, you can fix that right now. So you just block out the blue spectrum of light, because the blue light comes from the sky, blue sky, obviously, and unfortunately it comes from a lot of our monitors and phones and what have you. So you can also put your phone, I think some monitors do it too, screens, you can put it onto a night mode, which it will make it more amber toned. The blue blocking glasses definitely help, but I think in general you need some wind down time before bed. I think everyone does, because you just can't be working and then just try to fall asleep. Or I'll go out I don't go out at night often, and I don't like it because, or even just recording a podcast, I've noticed at night I'll notice, well, if it's after about 8 o'clock, and I'm normally in bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock, I'm dehydrated, I'm worked up, I'm all energized because I've been talking to people. I'm not going to sleep. It's going to be 1 a.m. before I actually frickin' fall asleep, and I'm going to be drinking heaps of water, and no. I need wind down time. I'm going to drink my ginger tea, I'm going to play my video games, relax, wind down. Co-worker of mine, she's recently divorced, got 4 kids, she's running around after them constantly, and I asked her, so what do you do, the hour or two before bed? Oh, I don't stop and watch TV or anything. I just keep looking after the kids, and then I collapse. I mean, that's one way to do it. She doesn't have trouble falling asleep because obviously she's just run down to 0. She's just collapsing out of exhaustion. I think insomnia, well, we basically know this. Insomnia is a modern condition. Insomnia is not something you see in ancestral, hunter-gatherer tribes in the modern world. They don't have those issues. They are attuned to their circadian rhythms. They follow the sun. They aren't looking at screens well into the night. They aren't going out and doing the kinds of stuff we do at all hours that wouldn't be natural. So I think that concludes every health and lifestyle thing that I've incorporated into my life, and it really works for me. I'm feeling great. I am just mentally and physically, if you're a regular to my channel, you know that I was in a really dark place recently, that I've got a lot of trauma I haven't really addressed. Detransitioning, narcissistic mother, being abandoned by my whole family, 2 burglaries, the list goes on. I don't think it was too long after that video about leaving my narcissist mother that I really focused on my routine and doing a variety of things for my mental and physical health. And I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling, at the end of every day, I just feel, if I tick every box, it's nice to kind of gamify your life where, okay, sewing, drawing, writing, work out, sauna, cold shower, all these things, and you kind of give yourself a point system and go, oh, at the end of the day, I'm lying in bed going, I have done all the things on the list. I feel really good. I'm excited for tomorrow because I've got new ideas for the next writing or drawing project or whatever. So, this obviously works for me. Doesn't work for everyone, but hopefully you can take some pointers from this and let me know what you do. Maybe there's some other ideas I haven't thought of. And until next time, see you, Space Cowboy.